What's up, Giants fans, Hub watchers, YouTube subscribers, Twitter and Instagram followers? It's your boy Noname, back at it with another Giants video. Today we got the Giants versus Jets preview. But before I get into that, I'd like to say something real quick. A follower / subscriber of mine messaged me on Instagram, on the DMs just a couple of days ago. And this dude was right, y'all. He told me, hey man, love your content, all that. Bring up good points, but one place I definitely need to improve is the way I speak in my videos. How lively I sound. How that I can't be sounding dead or flat in my videos and expect, to gain more followers, more subscribers. Expect people to continue to watch my stuff. And he was just like, in a respectful way. He was very respectful. I'm not gonna mention his name because he requested not to. But essentially the message he sent me was he wants me to try and be a bit more lively in my videos, and I agree with him. I've noticed it too in my most recent videos. I've been sounding really dead, really flat tone, monotone, especially in the Monday Night Football reaction. I was talking as big plays were going down, and you just heard me continue to speak in the same voice without much of any reaction. So I'm gonna try and be more lively from now on, I guess you could say. It is a force of habit of mine, so every now and then I will just continue to sound like the way I'm talking right now. But I'm gonna try and be more lively, guys. All right, for you and for me. Okay. Now that out the way, let's get on to the matchup of New York's finest. And obviously, you guys see the finest in quotation marks on the background there because these two teams stink. I mean, Jets fans, what's happening, man? You guys were supposed to win free agency, man. You picked up Lev Bell, picked up CJ Mosley. You guys shored up your offensive line. You got that star running back to go along with the future Sam Darnold. You guys shored up your defense. Got that linebacker to get all the pieces together. You guys drafted Quinnen Williams, who he's looked all right so far. I believe he was injured early in the year, but he's looked alright, nothing too great. I mean, honestly, what's the difference between Quinnen Williams and Dexter Lawrence, y'all? I can't tell. But maybe that's a little bit of a stretch. But the way he's been performing, right, not that different from our guy Dexter Lawrence, And all in all, the Jets were supposed to be, according to the media, in accordance with their signings, and of course, according to their fans, Jets were supposed to be that team in the AFC, man. This was supposed to be the year they take a step forward. Now, the Giants were always going to be rebuilding this year, Everybody knew that. They were always going to be rebuilding. This was always going to be year 2 of the big rebuild. I don't know. It might be year 1, to be honest, because sometimes I look at my team and I'm like, we might just need to blow everything up. But no need to get hasty right now. This was supposed to be the Jets' years, essentially. And I don't know what the deal is between Jets and Giants fans, y'all. I have no problem with the team of the New York Jets, and this might come off as like a backhanded insult to them, but it's straight up how I feel about the Jets and their franchise. It's they're not in my division. Sure, we share the same stadium, but we all know that's really Giant Stadium. That was its name before MetLife Stadium was actually built. It was called Giant Stadium. They share a stadium with us, and they're kind of looked at as the little brother franchise of New York, but I don't really look at them like that. I'm just like, oh, is that other team, is the team across the street, and they're never a problem. So I mean, I have nothing, I feel nothing for the Jets, but somehow, some way, if I come across, because I live in the city, if I come across a Jets fan and somehow he finds out or she finds out that I'm a Giants fan, they always start hating, bro, and that's what caused me to start hating on the Jets. They got no reason to hate on us, and they always do. So I'm gonna take my shots at the Jets right now. You guys were supposed to be New York's finest, and you stink. You're worse than the Giants. How do you feel? Because according to all your fans, you were supposed to be better than us. I don't know what's going on there. But let me get into the real meats and potatoes of the Snoopy Bowl 2019. So we got Jones versus Darnold, Dimes versus Ghosts, Danny versus Sammy, first year versus second year. So Sam Darnold thus far this season, and because I don't watch Jets football like that, the only thing I can go off of is, his stats, and obviously the a little bit of extra research that I do here, but I can't talk about things like in depth, such as intangibles and whatnot, like I can with Danny. But so far this season, Sam Darnold is 1,077 yards, 6 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, averaging a rating of 70.5, which is not good. QBR goes up to 153.2, I think, or something like that. So he could definitely be doing better. You could argue he's having that sophomore slump, as many players, many quarterbacks do. Or you could argue the fact that maybe he's not ready yet. Maybe he'll take a couple more years to develop before he reaches his potential and whatnot. Whatever the case may be, I think one thing is clear. For this year, he's been a disappointment for the Jets. With the he was out with mono for a couple of weeks. He came back. He wasn't looking too good when he came back. He honestly, the guy looks bad. Okay, he looked better last year. And like I said, there is this thing known as the sophomore slump, which you could very much point to. But in general, the Jets team, along with their team leader, hasn't been the best. And speaking of leader, I don't even know if he's the one that is the leader of that offense. I think it's more so Le'Veon Bell or maybe somebody else, because Sam Darnold just doesn't exude that leader energy to me, exude the energy of, hey man, I got this, don't worry about anything, I'll take care of it. Now, Daniel Jones does, and this is even more volatile of a situation because he's still a rookie, and everything I say right now about him could flip next year if he has a sophomore slump, or if anything he's doing right now turns out to be a fluke. Daniel Jones, his stats on the year: 1,676 yards, 11 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, but in terms of turnovers, I think it's something crazy like 14 or something like that. And he's averaging a QBR of 82.8. Once again, on the QBR side, not that good, could be higher. But on the yardage side, Jones has started every game since week 3. Darnold has only started, let me see here, 5 games this season. And they have, in terms of yardage, not that much of a difference in terms of yardage, so good on Darnold there. But touchdown to interception ratio is definitely something Daniel has in favor of him, and he's, for this year at least, like I said, everything could flip the switch next year or in his third year. For this year at least, he's kind of a little bit of a turnover king, maybe a turnover prince. I'll still keep the king crown to Jameis Winston, but Daniel Jones is definitely prone to turning the ball over a little bit, whether it's by ball security issues or an interception that usually isn't his fault. Now, why do I compare these two QBs? Well, several reasons. They're both young QBs, and they're very connected to each other, as the Jets and Giants have been a lot more connected to each other in these past couple years than ever before. With the drafting of Saquon, people saying we should have taken Darnold over him, and then when we did get our quarterback, a lot of media members, a lot of Giants fans, and most definitely a lot of Jets fans were saying, how the Giants messed up and the Jets did what the Giants should have did. But you look at it right now, and we're kind of both in the same spot. I think that the Giants are in a better spot than the Jets right now. We have a better foundation to build upon, and I think we got a better quarterback. And like I said, this could all change in just a matter of a couple months, just by the next season. But right now, I think we got the better quarterback. It's in the stats. The proof is in the pudding. You ask anybody right now, which quarterback would they rather have, Daniel Jones or Sam Darnold? A good amount of them are going to say DJ. And that alone is proof that, hey, we did the right thing. And right now, he is the better quarterback, all right? His yardage is showing it. His tight windows throws are showing it. And the thing, and most importantly, that shows it is his ability to see people and not ghosts. Or more specifically, his ability to not be rattled that easily in the pocket. That's what caused Darnold to make that comment on himself. For all the memes that will be made, is because he was rattled by that defense. He was scared, he was nervous, anxious, and that's what made him, throw errant throws and essentially see what they call ghosts. But it's because he was rattled very easily in the pocket that night, and Jones isn't. He's the guy that's used to being hit all the time. He's the guy that's used to a bad offensive line coming from that school in Duke that had a terrible offensive line, and now the same thing here with the Giants. So he's used to that. So, for this matchup, and I guess for the future, at least for now, I'll take DJ. The next matchup up here is Saquon versus Bell. And this is, like I said, the Jets and Giants have been connected the past couple years more than ever before. This is another matchup that shows that when we drafted Saquon, a lot of people forget the Giants running game was trash for about a good like 4 years or so, maybe even more than that, and we desperately needed somebody out of the backfield that could do the job for us. Lo and behold, we draft the best I was almost a quarterback, the best running back in the league in Saquon Barkley, and he hasn't been able to flex his muscles this year. Sure, all right, he hasn't been able to flex his ability because of two things: the injury, and I'm not sure if he's fully recovered, because I look at this guy on some runs where he's way more hesitant than usual, and I look at him in pass blocking, and he's also, once again, a little bit more hesitant, a little bit more I guess not into his pass blocking as he usually would be since coming back from injury, and I think it's because he's nervous. You know, he had that high ankle sprain. That's an injury he's had before in college. You know, I wouldn't say he's injury prone, definitely not, because this guy's really a freak of nature. It's hard to injure him, but he's worried. And if he's worried, I'm worried, okay? You could see that clear as day. He doesn't want to get re-injured. He just wants to, you know, ride out the season real slow, come back healthy next year, and get it going next year, hit the ground running, pun intended. And then there's also the factor of his offensive line, which has regressed since week 1, not really doing him any favors. It's very similar to last year. As soon as this guy gets the ball, there's like 3 people in the backfield stuffing the run. The difference is, like I said, is that this year he had a serious injury that he's recovering from, so he can't exactly break everything free. And play calling ain't helping him either. I don't know why we're running him up the middle like he's a fullback or some type of power back. He does have power, but for the most part, Saquon is more that elusive back, that fast, agile one that does a lot of his damage on the outside, and he could catch you on the inside. But we're running him down the middle like he's Zeke or something, the type of back that Zeke is, when we should be doing a little bit more sweeps and tosses to the outside. That's just me though. Lev Bell, very similar, except he's a very patient runner, but he hasn't been able to flex his muscles either this season. And I think that's a combination of Jets O-line and his rust. I don't even know if he's fully recovered from his rust. You know, sitting out a whole year and whatnot. That sometimes that does good for a player, sometimes it doesn't. But Lev Bell has not been what he was before the sit out, and that is the best running back in the league. He's not even top 5 anymore, and it shows. You know, maybe it's both. Maybe it's just the rust. I don't know. Maybe he's just not playing to his, you know, his own standard, because he's like, hey man, I know this team ain't going nowhere right now, so why should I stress? Because let's be honest, I think that will be kind of the mentality he has. You know, he doesn't want to destroy his body, which is why he sat out for the Steelers. But right now in this running back matchup, you know, specifically for this game on Sunday, surprisingly, I would go with Le'Veon Bell, because I do think the Jets' offensive line is a tad bit better than the Giants' offensive line. And with the way our coach, Pat Shurmur, uses Saquon Barkley, he does not know how to use him. It's very clear and adamant to me at this point that Pat Shurmur doesn't know how to use Saquon. I do believe that Bell will have a better game. And now I think the final matchup I have listed here, you know, is like the two D-lines, comparing them to each other. I really just threw that in there because of the obvious connection through Leonard Williams and just the defenses in general. We got 2 bad defenses here. Let's call it as it is. Giants are like the 28th or 29th ranked defense in the league. Jets are somewhere around that 20 mark. And even though, you know, they're different in terms of scheme and whatnot, their strengths lie in very similar places. For both teams, their strength lies in their defensive lines. Obviously, the anchors on those lines for the Giants being, you know, Dexter Lawrence, Dalvin Thompson, B.J. Hill, Leonard Williams, who we got from the Jets, who hopefully can do a bit better. And then on the Jets side, you got guys like Quinnen Williams, Jordan Willis, and other guys. I don't really know, you know, the roster, but it's in the stats. You could tell where their strength lies because they're ranked 6th in preventing the rush in the NFL. So that's pretty good. That lets you know their defensive line is good. So I think that's what a matchup is going to be to keep an eye on. Obviously, also they have an alright secondary. You know, really they're, you know, led by Jamal Adams. They have an alright secondary though. They do, however, let up a good amount of passing yards, 263, which is 26th in the league. And that's actually tied with the Giants, who also let up 263 passing yards a game. But the difference here is that the Giants let up about 130 rushing yards a game. But yeah, the defenses, we got two bad defenses, just calling it as it is. It's going to be a game of Jekyll and Hyde on the Giants side. Which defense do we get? Do we get the defense from the first half of the Dallas game, the one that played the entire game of the Patriots? Or do we get the defense we see every other time? And on the Jets side, believe it or not, they might outperform their usual selves because the Giants offense just does that to teams. And as much as I want to say it will come down to the offense because the Jets have one of the worst offenses in the league, I think it's ranked like the last in terms of points scored and whatnot, and we could definitely take advantage of that on our offensive side to put up some points. This has happened before, earlier in the year. I think I said it with the Cardinals. It was going to be a game of inches, turned out to be a blowout. There's other games where I said it's going to be, down to the quarterback, turned out to be a game of inches. And as much as I want to say it's going to be, a quarterbacking type of game here, I think it's going to come down to the defenses just because of how each offense performs. But that's what I got. Let me know what you all think. Put your comments down below. Like, share, subscribe, and I'm out. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Put your comments down below. Make sure you smash that like button, subscribe, and turn on post notifications. Until next time, I'm out. Yeah.